What up, man? It's your big brother, K-Rino. Feel like I've been gone for a while. I know I just did a couple of live streams. Was it early this week? I can't remember. But I feel like I haven't done one in a while, even though I know I have, man. Y'all see the title. Y'all see what it is. Y'all understand where we're going. I made a video about this a day or so ago. So we getting ready to go in. As you come into the building, please click the like button for your big brother and make sure that you subscribe to the channel. Um, and when you subscribe to the channel, don't just subscribe. Make sure that you always keep your notifications on, so that way you'll know when your big brother always dropping a video. We're gonna go straight in and touch on this. I touched on it a little bit the other day in the short video I did, but I wanted to go live on it because I know a lot of people are talking about this. And again, to give y'all just an understanding and a disclaimer of how I rock. I don't participate in topics that are taken on from a gossipy point of view. I don't do a lot of gossiping and he and playing around and that type of stuff. That's not what I do. So when I touch on something celebrity, when I touch on something, um, I guess I will just keep it in the realm of celebrity. When I touch on something like that, I'm doing it from the standpoint of extracting a bigger principle out of it that can be hopefully beneficial to us. So inshallah, we'll be able to lay that out. Um, I see y'all coming in. Hit that like button as y'all come in, man. And that helps to spread your big brother's videos around. The more likes we get, and we can be more and more into the YouTube verse when we do it like that. But we're talking about this Dave Chappelle situation and how there are certain groups that feel that they have so much power that they have the instant ability to make the determination over whether somebody else gets what we like to call these days canceled. They feel as though they have the absolute power. They have the button right in front of them where they can hit that button or they can pull that string, and if something is said or something is done that they don't like, if somebody says something that they view to be offensive, then they got the power to have them shut down or have the rug snatched from under them. And this is going on in the case of Dave Chappelle. He released another Netflix. Well, Netflix released another stand-up special on him called The Closer. And of course, Dave Chappelle has, in the last few years, had a long running relationship with Netflix where he's been doing a lot of Netflix specials. And they have been loaded with controversial topics. And, that's what comedians do. And, well, let me say this, that's what the great comedians do. The great comedians, they go where other ones don't go. You have comics who would touch on just the basic stuff. They're real generic in their material and the material that they select. They're real selective and they're real generic. It's real basic, and they are the ones that kind of basically stay right here. But then when you talk about the greats who've ever done it, and if you know anything about comedy, I'm a big fan of comedy, and there are comics who um, have transcended the genre of comedy because of the fact that they will go and say things that a lot of the other comedians won't say. They're not gonna go there. They're not gonna play that game. So if you have a, um, a Red Fox, if you have a Richard Pryor, if you have a George Carlin, and if you have a Bill Burr, and now you have a Dave Chappelle, which Bill Burr and Dave Chappelle, they pretty much contemporaries. Bill Burr's still doing his thing now, but a lot of the ones I named are gone. These are comedians who push the envelope and will say things that just are shocking to the audience, even though they're not doing it for what they call shock value. They are just speaking what's on their mind. They're not doing it for shock value. And it doesn't matter if you're talking about politics. It doesn't matter if you're talking about religion. It doesn't matter if you talk about relationships. It doesn't matter if you're talking about um, racial topics. And it doesn't matter if you're talking about in this modern dispensation of time, if you're talking about the LGBTQ community and the, the the controversies that surround anything critical being said about them. Now, Dave, if you watch that special, and I said this the other day, if you watch that special, in my opinion, somebody said Paul Mooney, that's another one. You know, in my opinion, his delivery was a very balanced mixture of jokes, jokes, of harsh truths, and it was a good balance. And a lot of truth was told in a comedic way. But what we got to understand now is that we live in a society right now where there are organizations that are in power that don't even want you to tell the truth. One of the truths that he said that stood out to me as he was making a statement concerning that community, he said that gender is a fact. He said that gender is a fact. Now, my question would be, why would anybody take exception to that statement? Why would anybody take offense to that statement? How could I not say Dolomite? Appreciate that, Dollar Bill. I got your email too. How can I not say Dolomite, man? But how can you take offense to the statement that gender is a fact? Now, the context that he was saying it in my opinion, is not to be demeaning towards anybody who takes on the identity of transgender, because even in the actual word, in that actual word, transgender, you are admitting indirectly that gender is a fact, because you're saying by putting the word trans in front of it that you are transcending into something other than what you originally were. At least you believe to be transferring into something else. So you're admitting that there's an alteration being made just in the very terminology of using the word trans. But if you have the mind that you're going to take offense to a fact, then how are you being any different from the people that you claim are disrespectful, the people who you claim who ridicule and make mockery of your lifestyle and of your way? Well, you're doing the same thing. We have to be real enough with ourselves to take criticism about ourselves if the criticism is valid. And one of the main criticisms that was expressed in the comedy special was basically paraphrasing that a lot of, and not all, but a lot of members of the LGBTQ community will conveniently use the struggle where it benefits them, where it's advantageous to them. And that's a fact. And This group that's calling for Netflix to remove the special from their platform is a perfect example of that. They're called the National Black Justice Coalition. And they are advocates of gay rights and LGBTQ rights. And hey, that's fantastic. I said that the other day. Do what you do. Everybody needs somebody to stand up for them if what you stand up for is valid in terms of discrimination for jobs and things of that nature. Okay, fine. But you don't get to wield around power just because somebody disagrees with your lifestyle. Y'all hit that like button if you haven't already. You don't get to just throw around your weight because somebody disagrees with your lifestyle and they express it. Now, a comedian is going to express it in a way that may be different from an athlete, may be different from a politician, may be different from a social justice advocate or just a regular person. He's going to express it in a way that a lot of people may be thinking, but they are afraid to say, or they may fear losing a position. But at the end of the day, we got to be real enough with ourselves with any criticism that comes to us to first say, is it any truth in it? Is it 100% true? Is it 80% true? Is it 50, 30, 20%? Whatever elements of truth are in it, or whatever you believe to be in it, acknowledge that. Acknowledge that. Because a lot of those individuals, they throw their weight around now. They have become a powerful group. And they have demonstrated the ability to get people canceled. But here's the deal. Certain people, based on the work that they put in and based on the core audience that they have built up, certain people are Teflon, meaning that it ain't gonna stick. You're not gonna be able to cancel somebody like a Dave Chappelle because his success is not built on your back. So you can call for Netflix to take the thing out, and who knows, they may do it. Or they may not do it because they have a relationship with Dave Chappelle that, I could be wrong, but they have a relationship with Dave Chappelle that appears to be a little different. Now, y'all know me. I don't trust the establishment at all. And when I say the establishment, I'm not just talking about government. I'm also talking about media. I'm also talking about these corporations. I'm also talking about these entertainment companies. All of those things are on the string. I don't trust the establishment at all. But one thing that I do know, and I understand it, and y'all should understand this too, is that when they find somebody that can make them money, that generates money for them, they'll ride with you even if it's just for the money. To a degree. Now, if you went out and killed somebody or raped somebody, then then that's different. But when it's just a general controversy that they feel like they can maneuver through, or they may feel like it's not that serious, or they may feel like time will eventually consume and people will move on to something else, they'll stand by. Because Dave Chappelle has made millions of dollars for Netflix. They paid him millions of dollars, but he's generated millions of dollars. Those specials that he's doing on Netflix are probably, and I have not done the research on this, but those specials that he does on Netflix are probably some of the most popular that are being released on that platform. Any shows that come on that platform, I'm assuming. Because anytime he drops one, I see the word of mouth. I find out from word of mouth because everybody's talking about it. And Dave's material has become more and more controversial over the last few years. But he's saying stuff that people are thinking, but they're scared to say. But you have to extract the nuggets out of what he was saying, because he made it a point to mention that this is going to be the last special he does for a while. So he kind of knew that he was going to go hard on this one, because he knew he was probably going to fall back for a minute. His own choice, though, to fall back. And you know we do that sometimes. You know how it is when you're getting ready to quit a job. You getting ready to quit a job. You got another job now, or you just have the freedom of mind to know I don't need this job no more. You talking to everybody crazy. You might cuss the supervisor out. You might talk crazy to some coworkers that don't like you and you don't like, because you know you're on your way out and you don't care. There's no consequence that you fear in that moment, because you know, man, this is my last day. I'm letting everybody have it. I'm letting everybody know how I feel about them all this time. And then you say what you got to say, and then you burn out. That's kind of how I felt like Dave was doing as it relates to getting a lot of this stuff off of his chest. And even though he did that, he was still criticized as being, I guess to use the word, bashing, but they didn't listen. Obviously, they did not listen to what he said. They only, like all the time, any groups like that, they only take what they feel to be the offensive aspects of the presentation. And even if something was said that wasn't meant like that, they still take it out of context to use it as being something that's offensive, and that now all of a sudden we want to call for this person to be removed. I watched this man express, in the middle of telling jokes about it, I watched him express respect, love, and admiration for a member of the transgender community that he came to, in his own words, befriend, to become friends with. Now, how many heterosexual males that are in this chat right now? I see a lot of dudes. I always got a lot of brothers in the chat. How many of you that are in this chat that are heterosexual straight males can say, or would say, or is the reality that you have a friend who's transgender? How many? I'll wait. Not saying none of you, just raise your hand if you do. And my point is that if you do, you do. That's fine. But I don't think that number is going to be too high. And there are many people, many men who will say, man, not only do I not have a friend that's transgender, I don't even want one. They would say that. So my point is that, so for Dave Chappelle to get on a special that's going to be aired all around the world, everybody on the planet, they're going to be translating this in Germany, translating this in Sweden and different parts of the world. So for one of the greatest comedians and one of the most famous people in the world to get on TV and say securely that this transgender person that I met became my friend, and I grew to have respect and admiration for this individual, how then can you gloss over that part and immediately call for Netflix to take the special off, and as if to say that this person hates members of the LGBTQ community? That don't line up with me. Don't line up with me. So you picking and choosing, you cherry picking what you want to extract in order to use to say, this is why Netflix need to take the special off. And who are you? Who are you? National Black Justice Coalition is another organization called GLAAD, who's stepping in the fight as well to try to get it snatched off. And they expressed their criticism towards Dave Chappelle and towards Netflix for allowing it. But who are you? And if you're the National Black Justice Coalition, even though it says that you are advocates for the rights of LGBTQ, fine. But you're the National Black Justice Coalition. Are you advocating anything else that represents the liberation of Black people? I never heard of you. I'm not saying they don't. I don't know. Y'all might pull up and say, well, they do this, they do that. I don't know. But if I don't know, and me being somebody who I like to consider myself pretty well immersed in the Black struggle, I don't know everything, but I like to consider myself somebody who's in tune with the Black struggle and familiar with any organizations who are really stepping it up for Black people. Then I see your name is the National Black Justice Coalition. Black Justice Coalition. What other fights are you in? You don't even have anything representative of the LGBTQ community in your name. That's just me. But when the people behind you, the people are behind you, and you have worked your way to a level of true freedom, do you understand how beautiful that feeling is? Not many people understand how beautiful that feeling is. Dave Chappelle ain't fearing nobody canceling him. He's not fearing that because he's already planted his feet and he is secure. Hold on, y'all. He's secure in, I got something caught up under my seat. Hold on for a second. Jacket fell. Hold on a second. There we go. Dave is secure in himself enough to know that he's made a lot of money. He's already demonstrated that he doesn't have to sell out for the establishment. He did that 15 years ago. Y'all remember when the Chappelle show was out? He walked away from $50 million because Comedy Central wanted to change and interfere with his creativity in the way that he does his show. And this is typical of how these companies operate. Entertainment companies, record companies, this is typical of how they operate. This man built this whole brand up by himself. Him and another writer by the name of Neil Brennan wrote and created all of that material for the Chappelle show back in the early 2000s, made it the hottest show on TV, still have skits from that show that are still classic and iconic to this day. And then they came along, I think in like the third season, and the company decided they wanted to bring in new writers and they wanted to change something. Why do they always do that? Why are you always trying to break something that ain't, fix something that ain't broke? Why do you have the arrogance to think that you are more creative than a creative genius like Dave Chappelle, to where you can just be some little nerdy little white dudes in the room and decide that you can write better comedy material or just as good comedy material as Dave Chappelle, so we're gonna make some changes. Then you insult his intelligence by saying, okay, you new deal, we'll give you $50 million. But the same way that I just asked y'all the question, how many of y'all, how many heterosexual males could honestly say, I didn't see no hands go up either. I just remembered that. How many heterosexual males could actually say, well, I have a friend that's transgender, and whether you had a friend or not, some people would be ashamed to even admit. How many of you would even admit that? So the next question would be, how many of you would walk away from $50 million, all because you won't compromise your creative integrity, and you're not willing to give up your creative control because something that you gave birth to, now you got some clowns trying to change it. Left 50 million on the table. And what did they do when he left 50 million on the table? He went to Africa to get away. And the first thing that they did when he went to Africa, they started trying to call him crazy. This is how they operate, man. Did the same thing to Cat Williams. Y'all drink y'all some water, man. Raise your hand if you know that you don't drink enough water. If you know that you should do better and drink more water, raise your hand. Be honest. Be honest. But they try to do the same thing to Cat Williams, man. Anytime that you don't go along with what they're trying to present to you, they're going to call you stupid. Maybe not directly like that. Then they're going to try to create a situation to make it seem like you're crazy. But Dave Chappelle walked away, and you got to remember, you might not remember, you didn't hear from Dave for a while when that happened. He came up missing for a while, even though he wasn't missing, but he got out the way. He moved himself out the way for a while. Then all of a sudden he reemerged. He was doing shows. He went back into the underground. He was doing comedy clubs and small venues again, one of the biggest comedians in the world. And I don't know Dave Chappelle personally, never met him, don't know him, but I'm going to take a wild guess of part of why he did that. Sometimes, man, when you get on these levels and see, you know how they say new levels, new devils? When you get on these levels and you see these supreme devils, and you've been operating in these boardrooms and dealing with these cats, man, sometimes you have to bring yourself down to your origins, to your roots. You have to go back to your foundation and re-establish and refine yourself. Let me go back to how I started. I'm going to go back to my roots, doing stand-up and holding the walls and small, and it grounds you. But also part of the reason is because you still have the genuine, organic love for the art form. It ain't always about the money. If it was about the money, he would have took the 50 million. You still have the love for the art form. So if he goes back to a little comedy club, how much do you think he's getting? $100,000 to perform at this spot? And it's probably 120 people there. He may have stepped on stage and did it for free. He proved it wasn't about the money. He proved that it was about the control of his art, and now he's proven that it's about the message. He has a message in him that he feels he needs to express, and he's expressing that message without fear of any consequence And that's something that a lot of these entertainers will never do, because they are under control. They under control. I'm not gonna say no names, but it's a lot of comedians. They ain't touching what Dave was touching. They ain't going down that road. They watching the special like, ooh, I would have never said that. Because they got tied in with certain interests on those levels with those devils that they're not gonna play with their money like that. Dave Chappelle doesn't strike me as the apologizing type when you said what you meant and you meant what you said. The only time that I'm gonna apologize for saying exactly what I meant, the only time that I would ever apologize for saying exactly what I meant would be if I personally had to reflect back and think about how I said it. Because sometimes you can say something in a manner that comes across the wrong way to somebody, in which case I will gladly say, hey man, while I don't regret or backtrack what I said, I can apologize for the way I said it. I may have went off on you the way I said it, but everything I said was true. And I agree with the things that Dave Chappelle was saying. He spoke about the baby. See, this is a hypocritical industry, man. If you're a rapper, singer, dancer, actor, actress, comedian, athlete, boxer, you are in a hypocritical industry. What's up, little Jazz? I see you. You are in a hypocritical industry because you are in an industry as Black people. This is an industry that will allow us to say the worst of the worst if it's about each other. You can talk about killing somebody, stabbing somebody. You could talk about selling dope to somebody. You could talk about pimping and hoeing and fighting and shooting and all these different things we could say to each other. And artists after artists who perpetuate that type of content will keep getting signed, right? Will keep getting radio play, because now these same type of subject matters they're laid out to where you can hear it on the radio now. Just the terminology is switched up, but we can talk about killing. We can talk about popping pills. We can talk about getting drunk and high. We can talk about going to a strip club, and we can talk about prostitution and all this. We can talk about all that on the radio now, because we can use language that means the same thing. And the audience knows what it is, but nobody seems to have a problem with that. Nobody seems to be mad when we talk about doing this stuff to each other. But you better not talk about police brutality being out of control. You better not talk about the judicial system being corrupt. You better not talk about the educational system being corrupt. You better not talk about the president being corrupt. You better not talk about the LGBTQ community in a way that is truthful but critical. Not evil, not disrespectful, just critical. Why ain't nobody mad about that? If I talk about how they lied in religion, if I talk about how they lied to us in school, can't talk about that. That's what the whole critical race theory argument is about. Anything that is laid out to wake us up is a problem. But it's not a problem for us to kill each other. So y'all want to take anything that's said and make it be offensive. Why is it offensive when somebody's telling the truth? And if you don't even believe it's the truth, if you just disagree, let's deal with the disagreement then. Let's deal with the disagreement. See? It's a coward move to just bust out and say, well, man, yeah, he offended us. He was wrong. Snatch him off the platform. But you don't even want to deal with and address the issues that he was talking about, because he went in on some levels that absolutely should be discussed. See? Because there's a lot of members of the LGBT community who are they cool. They live their lifestyle. Hey, that's them. But it's a lot of other ones that try to forcefully impose their lifestyle on you. Am I lying? And if you could say something as simple as, I don't know, man, that ain't me. I'm good. What you mean that ain't you? It ain't me. You want to be accepted. But when somebody disagrees with you, they are a problem. And now, with the ascension of those organizations, and they have that power, just like members of the Jewish community, now they use the power to pull you down if they got a problem with you. But you can't pull somebody down who's free. If you free, you can't be pulled down. It can't do nothing to you. That's why I love Farrakhan. Can talk to these powers any way he want to talk to them. Can't cancel him. Who I'm gonna call? Let me call Coca-Cola. Oh no, he's not sponsored by them. Let me call Walmart. Nope. Wait a minute, my bad. He's not sponsored by them. Let me call who? Nope. No, he's not sponsored by them. Man, there's nobody that we can contact that can cut off his money source to make him act right, because he's free. That's the level we all should be working to get to, man. It's rappers right now that ain't even in the game good yet, that already are basically saying, hey, man, for the right opportunity, I'll sell my soul. When you going on and you sell it then. You go on and you sell it. You never get it back. When you a free man, say what you want to say. Dave is free. He's free. It don't matter. People will say, well, he works with Netflix and he's a... Don't matter. See? You can partner up. See? You can do business with other entities and still maintain yourself and maintain your freedom. It's when you allow them to own and control you, that's when you're not free. If I understand my power and the asset that I am to them, then I come in and I negotiate with them on my terms. And when I negotiate with them on my terms, then guess what? I'm still a boss. I'm still a boss. They're more eager to do work, to listen to me, because they want what I got. They know that Dave is going to generate them millions. So Dave got leverage. Don't make no mistake about it. Don't try to put this thing in a category where like, well, he working with him. He just like, no, he ain't. He ain't just like some comedians' names I've seen y'all posting in the chat. He ain't just like them. No, he not. No, he not. He's already demonstrated that he could walk away from it all. Everybody on here, y'all drop y'all locations, man. Let me know where y'all at. Drop your locations real quick. Drop your locations. I want to know where y'all at, man. Number love. Somebody said, what's up, Jimmy? Jimmy said, I bet Boosie won't apologize. Yeah, Boosie going in on him. I just want Boosie to further demonstrate his power, to demonstrate more of his power. Because the mistake we make a lot of times, we fight so hard against them verbally to try to force them to accept us on their platforms to do whatever we want to do. And that's just not gonna happen. So even though truth may be said, Boosie might go in on Instagram. He might go in on Mark Zuckerberg, but it's kind of a coming from an angle where he's bringing attention of how hypocritical they are, but it's also kind of like, you know, let me be on y'all platform the way I want to be on it. Nah, man, we need to figure out how to build our own platforms. And your big brother is working on something like that. I'm involved in something like that right now. And I'll be breaking it down to y'all real soon. Yeah, drop your locations, man. Let me shout y'all out. I've been running my mouth. Adelaide, Australia in the building. Alabama. Hold on, I'm missing something. Hold on. Let me shout y'all out. Y'all in here thick. Dallas, Texas. New Zealand. Melbourne, Australia. Jamaica. I see you. Detroit, Third Coast. Miami, Florida. Dallas, Texas. Anniston, Alabama. Man, we all over the map. All over the map, man. Oakland, California. Rapid City, South Dakota. We all over the map. Australia, Alabama, Atlanta. See? Adelaide and Australia in here thick. Washington State. Dallas, Fort Worth. Dallas, Texas. New York, Manhattan. Columbus, Cleveland, Ohio up in this thing, man. Come on, man. Massachusetts. Man, y'all all over the place, man. Corpus Christi, man. We'll be in Corpus on the 30th, man. Y'all come see us live, me and Lil Flip. Me and Lil Flip will be in Corpus Christi on the 30th. Come check us out. Wichita Falls. Man, y'all all over the place. This is part of the arrogance of those organizations who try to control the narrative. First, they changed the narrative to make the slightest things be offensive. But once you generate some power, this is how you determine a person's character, man. You determine a person's character based on how they handle having power. You ever been in a situation with somebody, y'all cool, y'all on the same level, everything is fine, you don't have no issues with that person, and then y'all might work together and they get a promotion and they start treating you like you the lowest of the low all of a sudden, or they get real stuck up. All of a sudden you ain't recognize this person. They got one little position. You ever seen somebody who may be in a certain position of power and something will happen, you may get into a disagreement with them and they will actually utter these words to you? Tell me if somebody have actually uttered these words to you. Do you know who I am? One of the funniest things in the world is when somebody says that. Do you know who I am? What is your reaction when if you ever heard somebody, if somebody ever said that to you or you heard somebody, just raise your hand, peace sign, give me something, just let me know I ain't alone. When some clown, because of who they are, I guess, decides to ask you, do you know who they are? And when they say that, what is your reaction? If somebody say, do you know who I am? Do you know what I can do, what I'm capable of? You must don't know who you're talking to. What's your thought when somebody tell you that? My thought is, man, I don't care who you are. What's that supposed to mean? But also, it exposes their arrogance. It exposes their arrogance. Power and position is a gift, but it's a test of your humility. How you gonna act when you get a little money? How you gonna act when you get a little status? Do you know who I am? I can have you. They always tell you what they can do. I can have you put out of here in no time. I can have you fired. I can have you. You can't have me nothing because you don't control my movements. If I choose to remove myself, I chose to remove myself. You must don't want your job. All these things. Everybody have heard somebody come at them with some variation of this kind of talk. You must not value your job. Whole lot of people in power got beat up talking like that. But this is the mindset of these organizations who run the world. But it's a thing called being in the world, but not of the world. So if these organizations run the world, then what you got to understand is they only control those individuals who allow themselves to be put underfoot like that. They don't control the free man, the free woman who goes, yeah, I know you a billionaire. I know you a $1 billion coach. I know that you can make a phone call and I can never get a job in this industry again. I know you can do that. But you're not bigger than God, though. You're not bigger than God. But some of us, unfortunately, treat them like they are bigger than God. That's why we bow down. That's why we apologize. That's why we sell out. That's why we don't talk at all. Some of them don't say nothing at all. They just, you put a microphone in any one of them cats' face and say, hey, what do you think about the Dave Chappelle controversy? Oh, man, hey, I'm going to stay away from that, man. Hey, man, Dave's Dave. And they're going to come with some little, they don't want to touch it. They don't want to touch it because their livelihood is at stake and they don't want to get canceled either. How do you feel about the comments he made? And you may agree with what he said, but you're going, well, I'd rather not touch that. Why not? Because if you touch that, them people going to touch you. That didn't come out right. So we got to build our own. The strong got to build our own so the weak can have somewhere to go. There's a lot of people that's weak in this game and in this industry. They don't even want to be weak. They don't want to be weak. They just feel like they don't have no other choice. Well, I gotta go along with it. That's the same argument with the punch in the arm. People don't want to do that. People don't want to get punched in the arm. They don't even want to do it. It's like Andrew Wiggins. He didn't even want to do it. But he felt pressured. He felt forced. And he did it anyway. His body, his own body. He went against the natural inclination of his own mind to not subject himself, and he did it anyway because of the pressure, because of the potential loss of money, because of the slander and the ridicule that he was getting bombarded with. So he did it anyway. Y'all can't be like that, man. You can't be like that. It ain't nothing that's no change is gonna be made, man. There's no significant change that will ever be made if we keep conforming out of fear of loss. Loss from who? Who's causing the loss? But again, and I said this another time, we the same ones or do all that talking, fold up like a chair, knowing it went against who you are and your principles, and to be sitting right in church Sunday, clapping and talking about the Lord and all this good stuff here, and talking about how getting tattoos, I fear no man but God, and all this good stuff you say. You fear no man but God until the devil threatened your job. What happened to I fear no man but God? What happened to that? Oh man, I gotta take care. I gotta do what I gotta do, man. Okay. Keep that out your mouth. And people say, well, Dave's rich now. He's rich now. He can do that now. Man, there are things that are so much bigger than money, man. Y'all don't understand. There are things that are so much bigger than money. And the problem that comes in when members of the LGBTQ community come in and they distort the narrative, or they distort the principle and the basis of actual fair treatment and justice, which everybody deserves. The problem when those who at the top of that or those organizations do that, and they know they wrong when they do that, is disrespectful to the other members of that community who operate the right way, who understand. Just like when Dave said that his friend, his transgender friend, that he admitted to, that this homophobic man admitted to the entire world that he had a transgender friend, just like he said that transgender friend laughed at his jokes about that community just as hard as anybody, any straight person, right? And understood and got it, didn't take it personal. See, there are people like that who are part of that community. They get it. Took no offense to the special that Dave did. Didn't take no offense to it. They don't agree with the National Black Justice Coalition. They don't agree with GLAAD. They don't agree with all of these different people and organizations who are trying to now call for the cancel. For what? Cancel for what? See? That's a black eye on them. See, that's just like when black people are fighting for causes. We fighting for equal. We fighting for freedom, justice, and equality. And then maybe somebody corrupt within one of the black organizations does something out of pocket. And it reflects on everybody. It reflects on all of the good people in the organization and on the good name of the organization. It's the same thing. There are members of that community who, hey man, they do what they do. Then you come along and want to be snakish about how you handling it because you have an agenda. You got an agenda that you're trying to impose on everybody else. But everybody's not scared to say what's on their mind. Everybody's not scared. And there are many high-profile athletes and entertainers, they willing to lose it all. See, when you understand where your blessings really come from, your blessings don't come from Hollywood. Your blessings don't come from the NBA team. Your blessings come from the Most High. Your blessings come from the God himself. And whatever he has for you to have, you're going to get it. But whatever he allows you to get or gives to you through them, please understand that it can be taken from you. You should understand that when you're sitting in your 20-room mansion with 80 million in the bank, you should look around and say, you know what, man? This could be taken from me at any moment because they gave it to me. How many examples have you seen of that? A whole lot of black men was at the top of the mountain and now they in jail, they dead, they strung out on drugs, they broke. We allowed them to be dragged through the mud and canceled. We didn't defend the ones that we should have defended because in a lot of cases we believed the media propaganda that was put out on them. We believed it, and we became a part of the court of public opinion who judged them and condemned them. And in a lot of cases later on, some of those same people got vindicated. The truth came out, and now you looking stupid because you was one of the ones on the bag. Oh man, oh you heard what such and such did? No, you heard what such and such allegedly did. You heard what they say he did. And even if they did it, we don't stay on code. We be the first ones to condemn our own. We don't stay on code. See? See what y'all talking about, man. I ain't got up in the chat. Let me see what y'all talking about. This whole push on the vax and the new way of living is being forced upon us like the rest of the world. People's minds are being taken and their free will, our fear of a virus created from a lab. All of a sudden, what rich man you know that doesn't have a stomach? Y'all tripping. Elaborate on that. Everything going on is about population control and a one world government. Yeah. Yep. What's up, Hype? Tina Peter OG is in the building. See, you don't know where you're going to be tomorrow, man. You don't know where you're going to be tomorrow. You don't know what opportunities are going to present themselves to you tomorrow, next week, next month. You have to already be training yourself and establishing your principles right now to know what you will and will not accept, no matter what they place in front of you. Dave Chappelle he didn't have no fear of what he knew backlash was going. Do you actually think that Dave Chappelle didn't know that he was going to receive backlash for that routine, for that comedy show? He knew that he was going to receive backlash. But when you free, I ain't saying Dave Chappelle is perfect. I ain't saying, because some of y'all are, oh, he did this and he did that. See, that's the first thing. We gotta stop making the mistake of, even when somebody is defending somebody or being defended, when you see somebody being defended, the first thing we try to do is go and pull up something with a flaw from their past and say, well, he ain't nobody talking about in '09 when he did it. You're right, ain't nobody talking about that, because we're talking about what's going on right now. It's nothing more honorable than a person who speaks their mind, regardless of who likes it or not, even if you might disagree. How many of us have been in a situation where somebody says something and you like, man, I don't like this guy at all, but I respect the fact that he says exactly how he feels. I know where I stand with him. He told me straight up. He showed me straight up he don't like me. I can respect that more than somebody acting like they like me. Somebody pretending that they cool with me. I can respect that. I like to know where I stand. I don't like being in the air. I don't feel comfortable when I'm not sure of where I stand. I feel weird. It's hard for me to even function right, because it's like, am I this? You don't really know where you at with a person. So I like to know. Tell me. So we're gonna see what Netflix does. Like I said, I think that Netflix and Dave Chappelle have a partnership, a relationship, that there's a degree of respect, even if at the very least it's a business respect. Because sometimes people might not like you, they might not like what you're talking about, but they'll work with you if the bottom line makes sense. So at the very least, they have a business relationship that is on a level to where they respect him enough to say, well, wait a minute, we don't want to jeopardize this business relationship, because one of the executives at Netflix did speak out and say that they had an issue with the special that Dave Chappelle did, and said that they would no longer be working with the company. But they're not the owner of the company. They're not. She's a higher up, but she ain't the highest up. Marty Marr, what's up, man? When Dave Chappelle said that gender is a fact, what lie was told? Gender is a fact. Birth certificate, it's only going to say two things on it. And it's based on what is viewed by the doctor at the point of your delivery. What you choose to identify yourself as is a personal choice that you made, but it has nothing to do with your natural genetic makeup. You chose to say that's who you are. So gender is a fact. And every day they're trying to alter that. In two ways they alter it. They're trying to alter it through a flood of media representation, in terms of allowing individuals who push that agenda to be visible heavily through media markets, and through fear and threats of canceling people, of taking their positions and jobs from them. Marty Moore mentioned early on where there was a lady. I saw that same clip. There was a lady who was pushing a movement to say that we are going to give babies the option to determine if they want to be a boy or a girl. We will wait until they turn 4 years old, and then we will say, what do you want to be? At 4 years old, a baby whose mind isn't even developed yet, you're telling this baby, you now have the choice to decide, do you want to be a boy or do you want to be a girl? And even in the innocence of a baby who knows no better, a boy baby might just say, I want to be a girl. He don't mean it. He don't even know what it entails. He might have just said it that day. And she said that in the meantime, from birth to 4 years old, we won't call them babies. We'll call them babies. They, babies. Because they're neither. They're just a they. See how devilish that is, man? That's devilish, man. You can look at a male and a female as this is a male, this is a female. Come on, Christine, with the scripture. Male and female created he them and saw that it was good. See? This is an agenda. And it ain't to knock nobody, it ain't to bash nobody. See, this is what we got to get out of. They have laid it out so to where if you say it's an agenda, oh, he's bashing. Oh, you hate us. Man, look, you can't pass that over on me. Don't let them pass that over on you. That's like somebody saying, hey man, listen to my album, man. Tell me what you think. Tell me what you think about my new single. And you go, I don't really like the beat, man. You cussing too much. I can't really listen to the cussing, man. I mean, it could have been better. Oh man, you a hater. You a hater, man. You don't know good music, man. You hating on my music. That's the same philosophy that they use. You could say, well, no, man, you know, I'm not a perfect man. I'm not a perfect woman myself. I'm not being judgmental at all, but I just believe in the natural order of things. I believe that God created man and woman to procreate, and that is the mechanism. The combination of male and female is the joint mechanism that God uses in order to perpetuate the human species. So I don't agree with the fact of two of the same gender coming together like that, because if that took place on a massive enough scale, the human race would be extinct. No lie was told in that statement, but if that statement was said on a major platform, guess what? You the biggest homophobe that ever walked the planet. Oh, how dare you say, how dare you? Oh my gosh, he hates us. Nobody hates you. I don't know you. Think about that. Dave Chappelle's transgender friend at some point was an individual that he did not know. He didn't find out, he didn't meet the transgender person and start saying, oh, ew, ew. He didn't do that. He befriended the person. See, because a common ground between two people can create a connection. We got people on this chat that are from all different walks of life, different races, different religions. Some people may not even believe in religion, but they're spiritual. Some people may say, well, I'm a Baptist. Some people may say I'm Jewish. Some people may say I'm a Muslim. All these different schools of thought. But there are certain things that we operate on that are common ground, and we can connect on that common ground. So through the vehicle of comedy, Dave Chappelle and his transgender friend, they connected. Does that mean that Dave Chappelle gonna start dating the transgender? No. It just means that, you know what? I respect this person because this person gets it. This person is not offended by jokes I make about him. He gets it. And in that vein, something clicked. Now we cool. You never know. So I can't hate you if I don't know you. I can hate you when you give me a reason to. I can dislike you when you give me a just reason to. See? But don't try to put me in a box because you want to establish a level of control over me. The National Black Justice Coalition. You better be fighting for some straight up black causes too. You better be fighting for some straight up black causes too. Let me go in here and see what y'all talking about these last few minutes. Bruja Chaos says, yes, two souls formed a friendship, but we understand there are gender roles while on earth, hell, in heaven with saints, they have gender roles. PAB 702, you can't have gay people without straight people. I know that's obvious, but they want to twist it. No, that's deeper than what you may think. Seven four red. K-Rino is uncontrollable. You got that right. Lashid for you. These people have white puppet masters. That's the truth. KO. The devil is a liar. He was a liar from the beginning and abode not in the truth. Calvin, right. No disrespect at all. But our single purpose in existing is to reproduce. That's one of them. Yeah, that's one of our purposes. The only way is to get out of Babylon and society. That goes back to creating our own also as a form of that. They couldn't have canceled the baby if we had a safety net for him. They couldn't have canceled him. They couldn't have canceled a lot of people that they set out to cancel if we had a platform for them. They only bow down and apologize when they feel like, uh-oh, I just bought this car. I just bought this house. I can't afford for my money to get choked out. Because at the time you said whatever it is you said, whether the presentation was on point or not, we don't believe in disrespect. See, Mr. Farrakhan does not teach us to be disrespectful and just dirty towards people in our presentation. He don't teach us that. If we disagree with the lifestyle, express that, but still express it in a respectful manner. Express it in a respectful manner. We can disagree without being disagreeable. And we can bring facts to the table. We can bring science to the table. We can bring mathematics to the table that will back up our claims when the claims of the agenda pushers are only backed up by emotion, only backed up by feelings being hurt, only backed up by feeling like I'm being attacked. I hate when people say they're being attacked when they know that they're not. I'm being attacked. You attacked me. See? Shout out to the Hebrew Israelites. Seen the piece says some brews in here. Hey, salute. Psychology supports this. Bob Marley said, the more people smoke, heard, the more Babylon falls. When will America and society defend us? Y'all saying some stuff. I'm just going down reading a few of y'all comments right now. NBJC, which stands for National Black Justice Coalition, is a standard LGBT organization with black people as a front head, a front end. That's right. Why name your organization Black Justice when your mission revolves? I just said that. I don't know if you just joined me, but that's my point. That's why I said that I hope that y'all are involved in other aspects of black justice. See? Why did you give your organization a name like that that would not even indicate what your real mission statement represents? What are you trying to do? What's the hidden aspect of that? See? They playing on weak people's emotions. Y'all saying some stuff. Keep it coming. They don't understand that they are killing themselves. Babylon burning. It's a whole nother subject. I stand with Dave Chappelle. Gender is real. Black man need defense too. You sparking our pineal glands. Yeah. Nobody has a problem with us killing ourselves. Nobody has a problem with that. Not even us. Because some of us in our ignorance, we would jump in everybody's fight but our own. I remember seeing on Facebook when they had that crisis in France a few years ago, every black person on my Facebook page, support France, prayers for France. Some of y'all ain't even been to France. Farthest y'all went was Paris, Texas. Never been. Just we jump in everybody's fight. It ain't no disrespect to anybody who went through a crisis, whatever happened in France, whatever happens in Germany and whatever. Hey, man. But we jump in everybody's fight but our own. So those who understand in the value of freedom, those who understand the value of the few entertainers that we have out there that do stand and speak like Dave Chappelle speaks, and a few others, we got to stand up for them. We got to come out the woodworks and, as the scripture says, swallow the flood. The flood is meant for another man. But we got to swallow the flood when they come out. We can't just stand by when these organizations come out. We got to come out because it's more of us. Oh, my bad. You don't want your supervisor at your job to see that post that you put up. Let me explain something to you, man. I predict that one day all of these social media platforms are gonna be shut down. They're gonna be down. By whatever means it's gonna happen, that one day the connection that we have, the way that we are tied together through this social media model is going to be cut off one day. One day we're not going to be able to get on Facebook and see what everybody's doing and all the people do, and a lot of people whose phone numbers that you don't have, you're going to be cut completely off of them, off from them. Not going to be able to get on Instagram, not going to be able to get on YouTube. It's going to happen one day. So we should start to work on curing our social media addictions. Because I don't care what you say. I don't care what you try, how militant, how conscious you present yourself, and you might be. We are all suffering from a social media addiction. What's the first thing, or one of the first things that you do when you wake up, when God blesses you to open your eyes? What's one of the first things that you do? And I ain't talking about the natural things. You might wake up, say a prayer, go take a dump, eat some food. But right in that mix, one of the first things that you're going to do, you are going to log on to some version of social media. And in the course of a day, you are going to literally spend hours a day dilly-dallying through those social media platforms, several of them, one or several of them. We all do it. It has become a part of who we are. Facebook went down the other day for about 8 hours. People was freaking out. People was like, whoa, what's going on? It caused I won't say it caused a panic, but it caused a situation. See? But sooner or later, it's going to be gone. Tie yourself to your people now. I ain't saying stop using it. Use it for whatever you can use it for. Use it in a respectful manner. Don't be crazy on it. Don't be putting all your business out there. Don't be vulgar, and use it in a respectful manner. But the truth is, even the people who use it in a respectful manner, if you're telling the truth, they're going to snatch you anyway. Some will be snatched off, kicked off of it before it's all shut down. Same thing they did to Minister Farrakhan. Minister never said nothing disrespectful on any social media platform. They took him off of anyway because they didn't want to hear the truth. They didn't want the people to hear the truth. Let me say that. So the common denominator in this situation with Dave Chappelle, as I get ready to close it out, is that the people who are normally attacked on those levels are the individuals who those organizations view to be the most influential. And they feel as though Dave Chappelle is extremely influential, he's extremely intelligent, and they don't want what they may feel his views or ideologies on this subject. They don't want them to inundate the minds of the people. See? They don't want Minister Farrakhan's ideas to inundate the minds of the people. They don't want Reza Islam's ideas and thoughts to inundate the mind of the people. They don't educate them counter to what we're trying to teach them or tell them. They know who's who. Dave Chappelle is bigger than a comedian, man. It's bigger than comedy. Because again, all of the greats, you got good, you got great, and you got next level iconic. The icons are the world changers, and they are the ones who make the people think in ways that the people were not necessarily thinking prior to that person's arrival in that field. Richard Pryor did it. Go back and listen to some of the stuff Richard Pryor was saying in the 70s, in the 80s. Far ahead of his time. Richard would be canceled for some of the stuff he was saying back in the days. I love Eddie Murphy, but he was not as socially, I won't say astute, but he didn't go there as much. He didn't go there like Richard Pryor. Didn't go there like Dick Gregory. George Carlin. George Carlin. See, this is when you start mentioning the GOATs, since we like to use that term, the GOAT, when you start mentioning the greatest, it's not about the comedy. See, y'all got to put that together. Anything that you're trying to do in your life, man, listen to your big brother right now. Whatever you're trying to do in your life, whatever skill or whatever talent that you have, utilize that, but let that talent and that skill be the springboard to get a bigger message out. George Carlin talked about social issues, and he's a white dude speaking truths about this government. He's bigger than a comedian. Muhammad Ali, bigger than a boxer. Muhammad Ali ain't the greatest because he was the greatest in the ring. He was the greatest in the ring, but he bumped himself up higher because of his stances on the real issues of life. I see you, Tina P. Appreciate the love. He bumped himself up because when you become a world figure, it's bigger than what you do. Come on with it, Hype. You made me think about something, Hype. The greatest rappers. The greatest rappers. And this is just my opinion because the rapper conversation is all over the place. But the greatest rappers are the ones who speak on issues that are world changing. They have a message that's world changing. So the people who say that Pac is the greatest, are they saying that Tupac is the great? I'm just saying that people who view Tupac, don't get crazy. I know y'all got y'all opinions. But there's still a lot of people. When they come out with a list, Pac gonna be in that top 1, 2, or 3. But is he viewed the greatest because of his flow? Is he viewed the greatest because of his just the voice? Or is he viewed the greatest because of life-changing content and no fear of consequence for anything that he said? Never hesitated to bomb on anybody that he had a problem with, whether it was the government or another rapper. This is what transcends you. And again, Soul Ninja, I'm using Pac as an example. I knew this was going to turn into y'all missing my point. I'm not saying this to try to create a discussion about who's the greatest. I'm saying that he is in a category of individuals in his particular field that transcended just the music because of the message. He went to another level. That's why Public Enemy will always be, see, the artist. That's why Bob Marley will always be. That's why Stevie Wonder will always be, because the message became bigger than the art form that they were using. They transcended, man. That's what Dave has done. He's on another echelon than the average comic, than the average comedian that says, I was at my job today and my boss came in and he had a cowboy hat on. You regular. You regular. You're not gonna never bust out to the next level, into the stratosphere of being regular. And if you regular because that's all you can do, then hey man, you did the best you can do. But if you regular because you got the message but you scared to deliver it, then you deserve to be regular. All right, man, it's your big brother K-Rino. I appreciate y'all hanging with me, man. I appreciate the love. I'll catch y'all when I catch y'all. Peace.